what are the foods that are the worst offenders that we absolutely should never touch? And then maybe we talk about some of the ones that, okay, once you clean yourself out, you can get away with maybe once in a while, or it obviously depends on your current state of health, where you could maybe not handle it now, but you can handle it in 6 months, that sort of thing. So let's talk through some of the oxalates.
Well, I want to make sure we get time to talk through the things you were just saying, because there's a lot of misperceptions. And some of the way you were describing that actually takes us down a road of misperceptions about detox and liver function and oxalates. And in the foods too, absolutely never touch again. There's almost no high oxalate food that is an absolute no, never touch again. But if
That's
I
good news.
Yeah, it's not like 100% perfection is necessary to become oxalate aware and reduce the toxic burden and the stress in your body. In fact, trying to get to zero of this chemical can have its own hazards that can be just as bad as if you're eating a lot of it. So too little or too much can ultimately be a problem in today's world where our bodies are storing it. So this is a big problem because it turns into these calcium oxalate crystals, not just as kidney stones, but stones in your thyroid gland. And it can also turn into these lipid crystals and start filling up your liver and damaging your liver function and damaging any tissue that it gets to. So the foods I would elect in the oxalate world, if you really wanted to really be well, that really are like a pass, hard pass, get them out of your diet as much as possible and never run back again. If there were 3 of those, they would be on my list. It would be maybe 4 of them. Almonds, cashews, Swiss chard, and spinach, which I put in the same category. Almonds, cashews, chard, which includes beet greens. It's actually the same vegetable. Almonds, cashews, chard, beet greens, spinach. I consider that like one thing because there are all these dark leafy greens that those are the ones that get the credit for being dark and leafy. But there's other leafy greens that are very low in oxalate. So you only have to worry about those 3: chard, beet greens, and spinach. So those are the 3 top ones. And I would throw in bonus round peanuts, sweet potatoes, white potatoes. So we really want to stay away from them as much as possible. Well, it's really interesting because, hey, you get, there's one you don't have to give up all the way, but you get it early in life and you get a lot of it sometimes, depending on your family. But there's the chocolate, the peanuts, and the potatoes.
Mm.
Beets and sweet potatoes show up in an infant's life very early on, right?
Yes.
That first birthday, they make you eat a cake, and half the time there's chocolate in that cake somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. That first pureed food is often pureed sweet potatoes or pureed beets. And nowadays it has pureed green stuff in it, often spinach. Nowadays it has things like quinoa, horribly high in oxalate. These foods are not healthy and pretty dangerous for children.
And unfortunately, that quinoa and some of the other grains are really high in a vegan diet because
Yeah,
they're trying to get their proteins.
right.
Beets, athletes are using beet juice for nitric oxide,
Yeah.
right? And not just beets, but it's the concentration of in the juice. And just same like with celery juicing and just juicing in general, you're getting the concentrated vegetables. God did not intend us to put our vegetables in juicers, right? Are you?
Right.
Can
And some of
God,
these vegetables, did God intend us to eat vegetables we've invented? Since most of the produce department came about through plant breeding.
interesting.
Corn, all the cabbage family vegetables, which includes turnips and cauliflower and broccoli, all that. That's all human invention. The big, fat, sweet, juicy fruits. Most wild fruits are small, tough, and bitter, and they're not that sweet and juicy and gigantic. So
Right.
most of the produce, the carrot, there was no such thing as the carrot. The wild carrot is tough and bitter and impossible to chew on and not tasty. It's nasty. That somehow, we don't actually know how, sometime before the 1500s, we came up with the carrot through breeding. People have been interacting with nature for many, many, many thousands of years, and we've had a lot of time to play with plants and learn and teach ourselves, invent agriculture, and invent these new plant products that are safe enough to end up in a produce department. If you go in the wild, you rarely see a nice juicy carrot.
Mm.
Wild. You're not going to see like just this beautiful salad hanging out in the woods and stop on your hike to sit down for a wood salad, because those foods in the woods And in the wilds and the places I've been in, which are limited because I'm in the US, which is a limited stretch of, the Americas. Maybe in the tropics, they just coconuts and bananas fall in your head and you're happy. But again, even the banana is due to breeding, and they say that the banana itself is destined for extinction. It has a disease problem. And it's only one set of genetics. It's very unique and it doesn't seem to be breedable. That's one thing we can't seem to save. That's the current science, as far as I know. So our understanding of plants being so safe and beneficial, and that the God put the vegetables here for us to eat. Well, God gave us a nice planet and a good brain, and we've invented a lot of cool things. And some of the things we invent, we get in trouble with.
Exactly. And banana is supposed to be a superfood, but it's high histamine as well. And the histamines play with the oxalates.